Are you often troubled by a burning sensation in the soles of your feet? Have you noticed that your ankles are swollen for no apparent reason, or even experience intermittent dullness of sensation? Even if you adjust your work and dress routine and strictly follow the dietary guidelines, these annoying symptoms still linger. What's more puzzling is that the so-called healthy main dishes on your plate might actually be the hidden culprits exacerbating your condition. Don't get me wrong. We are by no means denying the nutritional value of green leafy vegetables. However, for specific groups of people, especially those with microcirculatory disorders, peripheral neuritis, or metabolic syndrome, certain plant-based ingredients may have hidden risks. Next, we will reveal 3 types of healthy vegetables that may cause foot problems, as well as solutions for scientifically adjusting the dietary structure. The first ingredient to watch out for, spinach. This stark green leafy vegetable has long been at the top of the nutrition pyramid. Its content of vitamin K, magnesium, and dietary fiber is indeed remarkable. However, what is less well known is that every 100 grams of fresh spinach contains about 750 milligrams of phytic acid crystals. This natural anti-nutrient may pose a potential threat to the peripheral nerves. The metabolic characteristics of phytates are worth being cautious about when they combine with free calcium ions. They will form insoluble calcium deposits. This not only affects the absorption and utilization of calcium by the bones, but more importantly, the ion channels necessary for nerve synaptic conduction may be blocked as a result. Clinical studies have shown that the probability of abnormal sensations in the distal extremities among people with a high phytic acid diet is 27 higher than that of the general population. The second type of risky ingredient, beetroot. This purplish-red root vegetable is highly regarded for its rich betaine antioxidants. However, its natural sugar content is as high as 6.7 grams per 100 grams, which is 1.8 times that of an equal amount of carrots. For people with abnormal sugar metabolism, continuous intake may lead to the accumulation of advanced glycation and products AGS. AGS have a cumulative damaging effect on microvessels. It will undergo a cross-linking reaction with collagen, gradually hardening the walls of capillaries. When the permeability of the capillary network in the foot decreases by 30, the reflux of interstitial fluid is blocked, and the clinical manifestation is persistent ankle edema. More seriously, this will form a vicious cycle. The compression caused by edema further aggravates the microcirculatory disorder. The third type to be wary of, Swiss chard. Although this rainbow-colored leafy vegetable is rich in provitamin A, its oxalate content reaches an astonishing 645 mg per 100 grams. Oxalate crystals have a two-way destructive effects. They not only combine with calcium to form urinary calculi, but also stimulate mast cells to release histamine. The local inflammatory response triggered by the latter may induce hyperglycemia of the plantar nerves. It is recommended that for people with peripheral circulation disorders, Swiss chard can be replaced with kale. While retaining the same nutritional value, the oxalate content of kale is reduced by 76, and it is rich in glucosinolates with antiflammatory effects. After the dietary adjustments, 82 of the subjects reported a significant reduction in the frequency of foot tingling. Suggestions for improvements. 1. Use short-term blanching treatment 30 seconds in boiling water, which can reduce the phytic acid content in spinach by 40. 2. Pair beetroot with broccoli rich in lipoic acid, which can effectively inhibit the formation of AGS. 3. Consume Swiss chard no more than 2 times a week, and control the single dosage within 50 grams. Peripheral circulation health. Deciphering the nutritional traps in green leafy vegetables and scientific coping strategies. Mechanism of microcirculatory blockage. When calcium phytate complexes deposit and form crystals in the microvessels, it will trigger peripheral microcirculatory blockage. This traffic control, at the microscopic level, directly weakens the blood perfusion efficiency of the foot tissues. Physiological studies have shown that when the blood oxygen saturation is lower than 92, there will be abnormal conduction in the nerve endings, and the clinical manifestations are persistent tingling and dullness of touch. More notably, the imbalance of the osmotic pressure of peripheral tissue fluid will cause interstitial edema, further compressing the already limited microcirculatory space. Superposition effect of inflammatory response. For groups sensitive to phytate metabolism, Continuous intake of vegetables high in phytic acid may trigger an immune response mediated by toll-like receptor for TLR4. This subclinical inflammatory state will lead to an expansion of the endothelial spaces and capillaries, increasing the exudation of interstitial fluid by 2335. When the circumference of the ankle increases by more than 1.5 cm due to edema, the risk of compression of the superficial peroneal nerve will rise to 3 times the baseline value. For individuals with underlying peripheral neuropathy, this mechanical compression may be the last straw for nerve conduction disorders. Intervention in the metabolism of coagulation factors. Every 100 grams of fresh spinach contains 483 g of vitamin K. This fat-soluble vitamin promotes the coagulation process of coagulation factors II, VII, IX, and X by activating glutamyl carboxylase. For patients undergoing combined anticoagulant therapy such as warfarin, a sudden increase in vitamin K intake can cause the INR value to fluctuate by more than 47 above the upper limit of the therapeutic window. Changes in hemorrhagiology will lead to a tendency for red blood cells to aggregate, resulting in a 28 decrease in the blood flow velocity of the foot microcirculatory, exacerbating the cold sensation and abnormal sensations at the extremities. Accurate identification of high-risk populations. Patients with renal insufficiency eGFR 60 ml and 1.73 ml need to pay special attention, as the ability of their renal tubules to secrete oxalic acid decreases by about 65, making them prone to hyperglycemia. Among the group with diabetic peripheral neuropathy, 67 have autonomic nerve regulation disorders, which will slow down the efficiency of microvessels in clearing metabolic products. For those with a vitamin B12 deficiency serum concentration 100 pg/ml, the ability to repair nerve myelin sheaths is limited. When combined with microcirculatory and disorders, the incidence of abnormal foot sensations will increase to 3.8 times that of the normal population. Scientific dietary adjustment plan. 1. Thermal processing, blanching and boiling water for 3 minutes can increase the activity of phytate hydrolase by 7 times, effectively decomposing 40 to 65 of phytate tests. 2. Periodic intake. It is recommended to consume no more than 3 times a week, and control the raw weight of a single serving within 80 grams. 3. Nutrient compatibility. Pair with a calcium ion donor such as 150 grams of Greek yogurt, 20 grams of sesame paste to promote the formation of insoluble calcium phytate salts in the digestive tract and reduce the intestinal absorption rate. 4. Vegetable rotation strategy. Alternately consume spinach with kale phytate content 0.2 mg and romaine lettuce. Establish the diversity of phytonutrient intake. Intervention measures at the molecular level. Supplement citrate preparations such as potassium citrate to reduce the formation of calcium oxalate crystals through a competitive inhibition mechanism. Increase the intake of vitamin B6, a daily supplement of 50 mg to actinate glycolase to caminophenonergy and convert oxalate precursors into glycine. Drink hard mineral water at calcium content 150 mgl to complete the calcium phytate binding reaction in the intestinal stage. Clinical nutrition research has confirmed that after implementing the above intervention measures, the serum oxalate concentration of the subjects can be reduced by 39, and the peripheral nerve conduction speed can be increased by 18. Through precise nutrient compatibility and scientific processing methods, we can fully enjoy the nutritional benefits of green leafy vegetables while safeguarding the health and stability of the peripheral circulation system. Remember, the essence of a smart diet lies in understanding the biochemical dialogue between food and the body. Health code hidden dangers on the dining table. These 2 superfoods may be harming your nerve endings. High leafy vegetables, the dual nature of a nutritional treasure trove. This life wisdom and daily diet may bring you unexpected health benefits. It should be clear that green vegetables themselves are not a health hazard. The key lies in the precise control of individual differences. For most people, such ingredients are indeed a high-quality source of vitamins and minerals. However, if you are experiencing abnormal sensations in the peripheral parts of your feet, whether it is persistent numbness, needle-like tingling, or swelling that is difficult to subside, or if you have been diagnosed with microcirculatory system disorders, peripheral nerve disorders, those naturally occurring plant acid crystals and high concentrations of vitamin K are likely to subtly conflict with your rehabilitation plan. Even when following the most rigorous dietary guidelines, it may have the opposite effect under certain circumstances. The core concept revealed by this case is that nutrient intake must be tailored to each individual. Seemingly perfect healthy ingredients may exhibit completely opposite biological effects in different constitutions. Understanding your own metabolic response to specific components in food, such as oxalate crystals, is the key to unlocking personalized health management. Everyone deserves a light, flexible, pain-free, and comfortable physical experience. To achieve this goal, it often requires looking beyond the surface nutritional data and establishing an in-depth dialogue with the body signals. When you notice any abnormalities in your feet, you might as well turn your attention to the green ingredients on your plate, where there may be the health clues you've been searching for. Cruciferous vegetables, the metabolic code of a nutritional goldmine. Cruciferous vegetables, hailed as life guardians, indeed possess exceptional nutritional value, with their rich reserves of vitamin C, adequate potassium, and dietary fiber. Combined with a powerful antioxidant team, they perform excellently in the fields of anti-inflammation and immune enhancements. For most people, these ingredients are an excellent addition to a balanced diet. However, it is important to be cautious. When you have peripheral neuropathy, microcirculatory disorders, or are accompanied by metabolic diseases such as diabetes and hypothyroidism, excessive consumption of raw cruciferous plants may trigger negative effects. This nutritional paradox is particularly confusing when we strive to practice a healthy diet. Some superfoods may actually become hidden health obstacles. A deeper analysis of their nutritional profile reveals that these vegetables are rich in key bioactive substances. Vitamin K dominates the blood clotting mechanism. Vitamin C maintains vascular elasticity and collagen synthesis. Dietary fiber optimizes the intestinal ecosystem, and potassium ions stabilize the rhythm of the heart muscle. They also contain unique glucosinate compounds, which can be metabolized into bioactive substances with potential anti-cancer properties. Theoretically, this is an amazing nutritional goldmine. However, for special groups with blood clotting disorders, abnormal peripheral circulation, or nerve sensitivity, it is precisely these components that endow them with nutritional value that may become the driving force behind health risks. The primary concern lies in the intake dose of vitamin K. Although this vitamin is crucial for blood clotting function, when you are taking anticoagulant medications such as worsen, commonly used for people at risk of thrombosis and stroke, excessive intake will significantly affect the effectiveness of the medication. This antagonistic effect between nutrition and medication may disrupt the blood clotting balance mechanism. When the rheological properties of the blood change abnormally, especially when the peripheral microcirculation in the extremities is blocked, it may induce symptoms such as peripheral numbness, a stabbing sensation, or persistent low body temperature. For those committed to improving microcirculation, these ingredients may inadvertently become hidden obstacles on the road to recovery. Nutritional trap: the hidden challenges of cruciferous vegetables when healthy ingredients encounter metabolic dilemmas. Potential risks: metabolic gains beyond vitamin K. Vitamin K is just the tip of the iceberg. The unique thyroid interferon factors and indole substances in the cruciferous family pose a potential threat to people with abnormal thyroid function. These natural phytochemicals may hinder the metabolic process of iodine. The latter is a key element for maintaining the normal operation of the thyroid gland. When hypothyroidism leads to a decrease in metabolic rate, tissue fluid retention, and weakened peripheral circulation, excessive consumption of raw broccoli may potentially exacerbate the symptoms. Digestive system: a two-way channel for nutrient absorption. Raw broccoli poses a special challenge to digestive function, especially for those with sensitive gastrointestinal tracts. Its rich content of crude fiber and sulfides may induce intestinal gas production, abdominal distension, and digestive discomfort. This digestive reaction, which seemingly has nothing to do with the peripheral nerves, actually has a chain reaction through the body's sophisticated internal circulation network. The inflammatory state of the intestine will increase the burden of lymphatic return, indirectly affecting the already fragile peripheral microcirculation. This systemic stress may amplify the abnormal perception of nerve endings, manifested as typical symptoms such as a stabbing sensation in the feet and abnormal temperature perception. These symptom association, individualized decoding of nutrient intake, For people with lower limb circulation disorders, ankle swelling, or intermittent nerve conduction abnormalities, it is urgent to re-examine the intake pattern of cruciferous vegetables in their diet. These physiological signals are essentially metabolic warnings issued by the body, indicating a gap in the efficiency of the nutrient delivery system. Scientifically evaluating the processing method and intake frequency of ingredients is more practical than blindly fasting. VI cooking wisdom, nutrient preservation and risk control. Completely eliminating broccoli is not a necessary solution. The key lies in mastering the skills of ingredient transformation. Using mild cooking methods such as steaming over water or stir-frying quickly can not only retain more than 90 of water-soluble vitamins but also effectively degrade the activity of fearing factors. For those with peripheral nerve symptoms, it is recommended to control the consumption frequency at to 3 times a week, with a single intake of no more than 150 grams. This precise regulation can not only meet the nutritional needs but also avoid metabolic burdens. VII ingredient rotation, building an antifoam anti-dietary matrix. Establishing a mechanism for diverse vegetable intake is crucial. Incorporating non-cruciferous vegetables such as bell peppers, young pumpkins, carrots, and kidney beans into the daily menu can not only avoid the risk of excessive intake of specific plant compounds but also obtain a variety of antioxidant components. For those with a tendency to bloat, it is recommended to keep a diet symptom observation log to accurately identify individual tolerance thresholds. VII systematic intervention, the synergistic effect of metabolic optimization. In specific cases, adjusting the intake strategy of cruciferous vegetables in stages such as suspending raw consumption or changing to fermentation treatment, combined with circulatory improvement measures such as foot physiology and moderate exercise, can often achieve a step-by-step alleviation of symptoms. This synergistic intervention of nutrition and physiology provides a new perspective on health management for metabolically sensitive groups. Nutritional warning: hidden dangers behind the colors, deciphering the dual nutritional effects of Swiss chard. IX high-risk populations, a compulsory course in precision nutrition. The populations that need to pay special attention to dietary risks include those undergoing anti-contemporary treatments, those with abnormal thyroid metabolism, and individuals with a tendency to retain body fluids. If you fall into the above categories, implementing a vegetable screening mechanism will make a significant difference. This does not deny the principles of a healthy diet, but rather establishes a dietary strategy that is compatible with physiological characteristics to avoid hidden conflicts with the body. X nutritional paradox, the individualized effects of healthy ingredients. It must be clear that Swiss chard still belongs to the array of high-density nutritional vegetables, but its biological effects vary significantly among individuals. When you have already shown pathological signals such as a stabbing sensation in the soles of your feet, microcirculatory disorders, or tissue swelling, this seemingly perfect healthy ingredient may become a hidden source of health interference. The core is to establish a body feedback monitoring system and make precise nutritional decisions based on unique metabolic characteristics. XI metabolic wisdom, nutritional cognition beyond the surface. Health status depends not only on the intake list but also on the body's metabolic response mechanism. This is why it is necessary to deeply analyze the multidimensional effects of so-called superfoods. This rigorous attitude is not excessive caution but a necessary quality for scientific health preservation. In the process of optimizing microcirculation, strengthening nerve conduction, and improving the overall quality of life, this rational thinking is the key. XI Swiss chard, metabolic challenges under visual temptation. This leafy vegetable with colorful veins, featuring dark green leaves and bright red, yellow, or white stems, often presents a visual feast and is commonly regarded as a benchmark choice for a healthy diet. Its rich content of magnesium, retinol, coagulation vitamin, iron ions, and potassium electrolytes indeed forms a high-quality nutritional matrix. However, for groups with circulation disorders, nerve hypersensitivity, abnormal sugar metabolism, or impaired kidney function, it may become a potential health trap. XIII phytochemicals, the hidden crisis of crystal deposition. The natural oxalic acid compounds contained in this vegetable, when the intake exceeds the individual's metabolic threshold, will combine with mineral elements in the body, especially calcium, to form a stable crystal structure. In areas with weak microcircuskeleton, such as the capillary network at the ends of the hands and feet, the deposition of these crystals may cause hemodynamic changes, leading to a decrease in oxygen supply and nerve compression, manifested as abnormal peripheral sensations and stiffness in the lower limbs. Excessive kidney load, the chain reaction of crystal metabolism. The kidney system, as the body's purification center, may experience a decline in filtration efficiency under the pressure of excessive oxalic acid metabolism. This state of metabolic overload may disrupt the electrolyte balance and induce fluid retention in the lower limbs, especially in the ankle area. For those with existing damage to renal units, this additional burden may accelerate the pathological process. XV dietary strategy, risk control and nutritional balance. Implementing segmented steaming recommended duration of 5-8 minutes can effectively degrade more than 40 of the oxalic acid content while retaining the core nutrients. It is recommended that high-risk groups adopt an intermittent intake pattern, with a single serving of 80-100 grams of cooked products, with sufficient water intake 2,000 and 2,500 ml per day, and calcium supplementation arid products or dark green vegetables. A multiple metabolic protection mechanism can be established. And the other conditions. You need to activate the dietary alert mode. 16 alternative solution, constructing a safe nutrition matrix. Introduce low oxalate leafy greens such as kale and romaine lettuce, and combine them with potassium-rich vegetables like pumpkins and asparagus. This can avoid the risk of crystal deposition and maintain electrolyte balance. Establish a personal dietary response file to record the changes in peripheral sensations and urination within 24 hours after ingestion, which helps to accurately determine the individual tolerance threshold. 17. Systemic intervention, the synergistic effect of metabolic engineering. For those who have already developed symptoms of crystal deposition, it is recommended to simultaneously implement hot compress physical therapy twice a day, 15 minutes each time, in foot eccentric exercises, tiptoe standing exercises, and combine them with a restricted dietary plan. This can significantly improve the peripheral microcircuskeleton. This multidimensional intervention strategy incorporates nutritional regulation into the overall health management framework to achieve a comprehensive improvement in metabolic efficiency. Metabolic alert, the dual nature of Swiss chard, when a nutritional feast encounters a physiological crisis. 18. Fluid imbalance, the invisible killer of nerve conduction. When the fluid retention in the tissue space continues to intensify, it will form a physical compression on the nerve endings. This mechanical pressure will interfere with the BL electrical signals transmitted by the nerve fibers to the central nervous system. These precise electrical impulses should accurately transmit important information such as temperature perception, tactile discrimination, and pain warning. At this time, you may experience abnormal sensations like ants crawling on the soles of your feet, persistent dull pain, or even a burning sensation. These symptoms are particularly prominent after long-term standing or walking. 19. Coagulation factors, the battlefield of nutrition and pharmacology. Similar to the dark green leafy vegetables discussed earlier, Swiss chard-rich vitamin K shows complex biological effects. Although this coagulation factor is essential for bone mineralization and the hemostatic mechanism, it may form a pharmacological antagonism against AMPs such as drugs like warfarin. For those who rely on anticoagulant therapy, excessive intake will reduce the drug's efficacy, lead to changes in the hemorheological properties, and further aggravate the peripheral circulation disorder. This deterioration of the microcircuskeleton is an important trigger for neurodegenerative diseases, which may exacerbate a series of symptoms such as low foot temperature, abnormal toe color, and walking sensitivity. 20. Risk definition, the dialectical cognition of nutrients. It must be clear that Swiss chard itself is not a toxic food, and its potential risks stem from metabolic imbalances under specific physiological conditions. If you continuously experience foot swelling and tightness, abnormal toe and temperature regulation, or pain during movements, these may be warning signs that the microcircuskeleton system and the nerve conduction network are under bubble pressure. These physiological reactions are not only daily nuisances but also metabolic warnings for the body, indicating that the dietary components may be catalyzing a deeper pathological process. 21 high-risk profiles for categories of groups needing attention. The first high-risk group is those with diabetic metabolic disorders. The continuously high sugar environment already increases the risk of peripheral neuropathy, and the superpositions of a high oxalate load will form a metabolic superposition effect. The second group is those with impaired renal function or a history of kidney stones. Their oxalate metabolizing ability already has a physiological defect, making it easier to form crystal deposits. The third group is gout patients. High oxalate intake may activate the mechanism of uric acid metabolic disorder. Finally, the group receiving anticoagulant therapy and those with abnormal blood vessel function need to establish a precise dietary control mechanism. 22 smart eating methods. The trio of risk control. 1. Thermal processing transformation. It is recommended to use steaming for 8-10 minutes or quick blanching treatments, which can reduce the oxalate content by 50-70 while retaining more than 80 of the water-soluble vitamins. This cooking transformation significantly reduces the probability of crystal formation. 2. Quantitative intake. When consuming other high oxalate foods simultaneously, it is recommended that the single-time intake of cooked rich chard should not exceed 100 grams, and no more than 3 times a week. 3. Alternative solution. Establish a dietary combination centered around low-oxalate leafy vegetables such as romaine lettuce, arugula, and chicory, and combine them with cruciferous vegetables like broccoli rabe and Brussels sprouts to construct a safe nutrition matrix. 23. Metabolic monitoring. Establishing a personalized dietary log. It is recommended that high-risk groups record the types of leafy vegetables consumed daily, the processing methods, and the physiological reactions within 24 hours after a meal, with a focus on observing the changes in food temperature, the degree of edema, and the frequency of abnormal sensations. This metabolic tracking helps to accurately determine the individual tolerance threshold and provides data support for dynamically adjusting the dietary plan. 24. Systemic protection. Multidimensional health intervention. For those who have already developed symptoms of crystal deposition, it is recommended to implement a 4-dimensional intervention plan. 1. Daily foot-eccentric exercises such as toe-grasping towel exercises to enhance the microcirculatory power. 2. Soak feet in warm water at 3840 C before going to bed for 15 minutes to promote peripheral blood flow. 3. Take calcium citrate supplements taken between meals to block oxalate absorption. 4. Infrared physical therapy twice a week to improve nerve conduction efficiency. Through this integrated health management, it is possible to effectively prevent and control metabolic risks while enjoying nutrition. Nutrition decoding the balancing law of smart eating, when healthy choices meet the art of metabolism. 25. Alternative solution. Nutritional preservation and metabolic. These dietary adjustment strategies can not only maintain the supply of essential nutrients but also effectively avoid the metabolic overload of the kidneys and the circulatory system. Construct a dietary framework that includes whole grains, fresh fruits and vegetables, and high-quality proteins. This can not only meet the fiber requirement recommended 25-30 g per day, but also control sodium intake within 1500 mg, which helps to stabilize the extracellular fluid osmotic pressure and relieve tissue edema. 26. Hydration, the cornerstone of metabolic engineering. Strengthening the hydration mechanism is the core regulatory strategy. The intake of 2,500 ml of purified water per day can increase the glomerular filtration rate by 30-40 and accelerate the excretion efficiency of oxalate compounds. At the same time, maintain the homeostasis of hemorrhagiology and control the hemitract within the ideal range of 36-48 to prevent nerve conduction abnormalities caused by microcirculatory stasis. 27. Dialectical cognition, the reinterpretation of the nature of food ingredients. Swiss chard is neither the original sin of health nor a universal solution. For those with sensitive peripheral nerve pain, microcirculatory disorders, or reduced renal unit function, excessive intake may form a metabolic cumulative effect and quietly aggravate the existing symptoms. This cognitive breakthrough reveals the essence of nutritional intervention. Personalized adaptation is more important than blindly following popular diets. 28. Metabolic signals, the body's sophisticated communication system. Physiological warnings such as a tingling sensation, local swelling, or abnormal fatigue are essentially metabolic imbalance signals sent by the body. keeping a symptom diary recording the frequency, intensity, and dietary relevance of the attacks, and a code more than 60 of the Diet Health Connection code. When you combine the choices on your plate with the physiological feedback, you have opened the key to precise health management. 29 Smart shopping, the balancing act of rationality and senses. When faced with the colorful beet plants in the market, there is no need to completely avoid them. It is recommended to implement the 3 shopping principles: selective purchasing, small portion storage, and systematic cooking. This strategy not only satisfies the visual enjoyment but also achieves risk control. 30 Nutrition Matrix, the relativity of superfoods. The nutritional advantages of the dark green leafy vegetable family spinach, broccoli, Swiss chard are conditional. The oxalate compounds, coagulation factors, and thyroid interfering substances they contain may induce crystal deposition, hemodynamic disorders, and nerve compression under specific metabolic backgrounds, especially in the lower limb microcirculatory network. This effect is often manifested as progressive paresthesia, even if you follow a strict dietary guideline. 31 Cooking philosophy, the technical path of risk transformation. The key is not to fast permanently but to master the food transformation technology. It is recommended to use high-temperature, short-time blanching 100°C 90 seconds to make the oxalate loss rate reach 55-65-65, while retaining more than 90 of the chlorophyll and vitamin C. Control the intake frequency to 2-3 times a week, and the single-time cooked food amount should not exceed 150 g. And establish a rotation mechanism with low-risk leafy vegetables such as begonia fibrous epila and Mycelium bryanthemum crystallinum. 30 Metabolic tuning, intervention from micro to macro. Establish a 4-in-1 intervention system, 1-foot biomass kinetical training such as barefoot balance exercises to improve peripheral perfusion. To nighttime segmented compression care using gradient pressure socks. 3 Post-meal metabolic monitoring, recording the peripheral temperature changes within 2 hours. For quarterly renal function screening, focusing on the detection of urinary oxalate crystals. This systematic management can reduce the dietary risk by 40-60. 33 Nutritional awakening, from instinctive eating to smart choices. The revolution of healthy eating begins with cognitive upgrading, understanding the metabolic dual nature of each food ingredient and establishing an individual response map is more valuable than simply distinguishing between good and bad foods. When you can interpret the internal connection between the temperature fluctuation of your feet and yesterday's plate, you have truly mastered the core skills of preventive health management. Remember, the smartest dietary choices often lie in the perfect resonance between scientific cognition and the body's signals.